Hey everyone, so this is part 2 for the Cosmetology Operator License Examination Candidate Information Bulletin. In this video, I will walk you through the key expectations for both your written and practical exam. So many people fail and lose their examination fees because they miss on these key details. For the 4 key topics that will help you avoid losing your exam fees. Number 1. Which references to use and what chapters to focus on. Number 2, do's and don'ts for the practical exam. Number 3, which supplies to label and which ones to leave unlabeled. Number 4, and last one, an overview of the content outline for the practical exam, including timing, sequence, and key reminders that most people forget. Let me help you ace this exam. On page 13, you will see an outline of all the chapters that will be included in your exam. So you will have a total of 120 minutes to take this test. You will be scored on 100 questions. There will be 10 questions that are not scored. And these questions are just practice questions. They will be at the beginning of the test, and you will be notified that those are practice tests. In order to pass, you will need to make a 70 or above. Number 1 is licensing and regulation. You will receive 20 questions from this section, and this comes from your TDLR book. Number 2, infection control. You will have 28 questions that come from here. So it gives you an outline of everything that will go under infection control. Cleaning and disinfecting, implements, equipment, work environment, safety procedures, exposure incidents, patch tests, strand tests, skin, which includes skin diseases and disorders, nails, which includes diseases and disorders, hair analysis, which includes disorders, scalp analysis, which includes diseases and disorders. This outline is so important because it gives you an idea of what chapters you should be studying first. So I recommend that you go over your TDLR book first and then proceed to going over your infection control. Number 3, hair and scalp care. So you will have 40 questions that come from all these chapters. So again, on here, you can see all the chapters, and they include products and hair cutting, hairstyling, chemical texture services as well. It also includes permanent wave, soft curl formation, hair coloring, color theory, types of hair color and lighteners, and application. So all this is included under hair care. And again, you will have 40 questions from this section. Number 4 and 5, these are the chapters that you will see the least amount of questions, but it is still very important that you go over them. So nail care, you will have 6 questions, which is manicuring, pedicuring, nail enhancements. Skin care, you will have 6 questions, and this includes facials, hair removal, and eyelash extensions. The reference list here on page 13 gives you a list of where the questions are coming from. The first one is TDLR. If you don't have your TDLR book, if you lost it, they provide the TDLR website so that you can find the TDLR book in a PDF or Word format. And the chapters that you definitely want to go over are chapter 83 and then chapter 1603. So they already give you an outline of what chapters to go over in your TDLR book. They also use Milady and they use Pivot Point. Although, if you can see here, it says that effective 8/31/2025, exams will no longer be based off this reference. They will no longer be using the Pivot Point. And again, the second one, the Pivot Point Fundamentals Cosmetology, again, effective 9/1/25, they will no longer be using that reference either, but they will continue to use Milady and the TDLR book. Again, when you get ready to prepare for your written exam, make sure that you have your TDLR book and your Milady book so that you can go over each chapter and study. And again, this is a great list so that you know what chapters to start studying. Here on page 14, you will find some expectations. So, for example, no conversing at all. During your practical examination, you are not allowed to converse with anybody else in the testing site. Next, for practical exam, you must wear closed-toed shoes. The next bullet point, you will have a proctor monitoring the examination, and unfortunately, you will not receive points for any activities that are not completed within the allotted time. So make sure that when you're practicing for your practical, you're also practicing your time. The next bullet point reminds us to use proper patron protection. So make sure that you're draping when necessary. Moving on to the next bullet point. Remember, you cannot be looking at other candidates. You have to make sure that you're focused on you. You're just facing forward. Now, that doesn't mean you can just, if you're looking at the time, because they will have a clock on the wall, or if you're looking at the proctor giving out instructions, that's fine. But as you're doing your procedure, you are not allowed to look at other candidates and see what exactly it is that they're doing. So you want to make sure that you're focused on you and you just zone everybody out, and just make sure that you're listening to your proctor for all instructions. Next bullet point, you're not allowed to use aerosol sprays. This is more common when the students are doing their blow dry and their Marcel curls. Again, you're not allowed to use any type of aerosol products. Next bullet point, this is very, very important. For your monomer and polymer, you have to use odorless monomer and low odor primer. So remember those two things. Only bottles clearly marked odorless by the manufacturers. You cannot label your own monomer container. They have to be labeled by the manufacturer, and it has to say odorless. The next bullet points, all the tasks must be done in order to receive your points. Moving on to the next bullet point. The time allotted for each procedure will include your setup time and your cleanup time. Also, remember to have all your supplies that you need for your exam. Once you've checked in, you will not be allowed to leave the facility. So make sure that you are prepared. I recommend that you check your kit 2 days before your exam. This gives you plenty of time to restock anything that you might be missing, and you are fully prepared the day of the examination. So remember, they will not allow you to leave the facility once you've checked in. Also, remember that all your supplies must be clean, sanitary, and unstained. So don't take any dirty towels, don't take any dirty implements. Make sure your bags are hair free, that there's no hairs anywhere. Your brushes are nice and clean, everything is clean and disinfected, and your labels are in English only. Another reminder, you have to make sure that you raise your hand at the end of each procedure. This will indicate to the proctor that you have completed that section of the examination. So don't forget to raise your hand. No markings of any kind are allowed on your mannequin. Our next bullet point reminds us not to have any cheat sheets or any written notes. For example, on your facial products, you're not allowed to label like what goes first, what goes second, what goes third, etc., etc. So no cheat sheets of any kind. Next reminder, they will discard anything that is left behind. So please make sure at the end of your examination for that last section of cleanup and disinfection, you take everything with you. Anything left behind will be discarded. Cell phones are not permitted, so please make sure that you leave them in your car or you leave them with whoever brought you to your test. Next bullet point, trainer hands are not accepted for the examination, so you have to take those regular mannequin hands, or you can also take the mannequin fingers. Another very important reminder, before the examination begins, the examiner will check your liquid monomer to ensure that it is odorless. If it is not odorless, you will not be allowed to use it during your examination. In this page, we will go over the supplies and equipment. So you have two lists. On one side, you see items that are not labeled. So all these items should not be labeled. Then on the other side, you see items that must be labeled in English only. So here we have a list of all the items that should not be labeled. If you label them, you may lose points. So do not label these items. Your nail files, your buffers, application brush, blow dryer, bowl for water, clips, combs, cotton, cuticle pushers, dampen dish, disposable applicators, drapes, electrical curling irons, end papers, fabric strips, foil, gloves, hairbrush, hair cutting shears, head draping, mannequin hand or finger. And remember, For your mannequin hand or finger, you have to prep it with tips to represent the natural nail. Do not label the mannequin stand or tripod, nail tips, neck strips, orange wood sticks, paper towels, permanent wave rods, protective cotton, razor with guard, tint brush, bowl or bottle, tip cutter or large nail clipper, and your towels. So this is a list of all the items that cannot be labeled. Here on the right are the things that must be labeled. Your kit bag should be no more than 30 by 30. So make sure that you're measuring your bag. And also, your kit must be labeled pre-sanitized, clean, or disinfected. So this will be a label that you will place outside of your bag where it is visible. So again, these are the items that must be labeled: antiseptic or soothing lotion, astringent, freshener or toner, blood exposure kit or first aid kit, cleansing product, cuticle oil, EPA approved disinfectant or simulated product, eye makeup remover, hand sanitizer, massage product, moisturizer, nail adhesive, nail dehydrator and cleanser. Again, very, very important, your odorless monomer and low odor primer. These must be labeled from the manufacturer. Polymer powder, protective cream, simulated product for permanent wave service. You do not need to take the real product. You can put water in your bottle and that is acceptable. Simulated product for chemical services, for example, gel or cholesterol. Again, you do not need to take the real product. Simulated soft wax product for waxing, and usually petroleum jelly or honey is used. Next one, spray bottle with water and trash bags. So these supplies must be labeled. The PSI examination proctor vendor will supply the following: brooms and dustpans, covered trash cans, mounted wall clock, workstation, and manicure table with chair. So for example, there's no need to bring brooms and dustpans. They will provide that for you. Moving on to page 16. So here's where the content outline of your practical examination begins. As you can see here, the entire examination will take a total of 3 hours and 31 minutes in length, and this is approximate. The total number of points is 119. The passing score for the entire practical is a 70. So as long as you make a 70, you will pass. This is 84 points out of 119 points. Here they have provided a general instructions of what the proctor will be reading before your exam begins. Your first section will be pre-examination setup and disinfection. You will have 10 minutes to unpack your general supplies and prepare your work area. You will be informed when you have 5 minutes remaining. And here they give you an outline of everything that you must do within those 10 minutes. The next section of the examination is your monomer and polymer over tip service. Here you will apply one tip and monomer and polymer overlay on one nail, so only one nail. You have 32 minutes to complete this section. So here on your left, you see everything that you need to do, so just make sure you do everything in order and you have that memorized. And always keep in mind to follow your safety criteria as well. After monomer and polymer, your next section is blood exposure incident service. You will perform the blood exposure incident and you will have 12 minutes to complete this section, and you will be informed when you have 6 minutes remaining. So again, make sure that you follow these steps and you follow your safety criteria. After that service, you will complete a facial service. You can perform this on a mannequin and you will perform the basic facial and demonstrate massage manipulations. You will have 17 minutes to complete this section and you will be informed when you have 9 minutes remaining. Remember to do these steps in order, and also again, don't forget your safety criteria. The next section is your waxing service using a soft wax. You will apply a simulated wax product to the eyebrow, only one eyebrow. You will have 14 minutes to complete this section, and you will be informed when you have 7 minutes remaining. And again, for this procedure, you can use your petroleum jelly. And here on your left, you see your steps that you must follow in order and reminders of your safety criteria. The next service will be your haircut service. You will have a total of 42 minutes to complete this haircut. And you do have to remove at least 1 inch of hair throughout the entire head. And it has to be a layered haircut of your choice. And you will have to use a razor, and you will have to use shears as well. Here, the only steps that you have to do in order are number 1, 2, and 3. So sanitize your hands and clean your hands, prepare the mannequin for service, and then perform your scalp analysis. So all those 3 steps must be done in order. And then steps 4 through 9 do not need to be performed in order. And again, remember your safety criteria. After your haircut, you will be performing the permanent wave service. You will have to wrap a minimum of 6 rods in the center back section. You will be instructed by your rater to demonstrate saturation and a test curl. You will have 22 minutes to complete this section, and you will be informed when you have 11 minutes remaining. So here you have your steps, number 1 through 6, that you must do in order, and your safety criteria to keep in mind, 1 through 6. The next service will be your blow drying and thermal curling service. Here you will have to blow dry the hair. Here you will have to blow dry wet hair and complete curls in a section of your choice using a curling iron. You have 22 minutes to complete this section, and you will be informed when you have 11 minutes remaining. So steps 1 through 6 in the blow dry thermal curling iron, make sure those are done in order. And for your safety criteria, 1 through 6, make sure you're following those safety protocols. The next section is your chemical service preparation only. Here, you will be preparing the hair for the foil highlights, hydroxide virgin relaxer, and hydroxide relaxer retouch services. You will have 10 minutes to complete this section, and you will be informed when you have 5 minutes remaining. And here are your steps 1 through 5 that you must do in order. Once you have been scored on the chemical preparation, you will be asked to complete foil highlights application services. When instructed by your rater, you will apply product on 2 subsections in a quadrant of your choice. For the foil highlights, you are not timed. Just remember to raise your hand when you have completed this portion of the examination. After your foil service, you will complete a hydroxide virgin relaxer service. You will complete a virgin relaxer application in a quadrant of your choice. You will have 10 minutes to complete this section, and you will be informed when you have 5 minutes remaining. Something to take note of in this section, if you see number 1 says apply product for the virgin application, and then number 2 says demonstrate smoothing hair on one subsection. So remember, number 2, to demonstrate smoothing, the next section is hydroxide relaxer retouch service. Here you will complete a relaxer retouch, assuming that there is 2 inches of new growth. You have 10 minutes to complete this section. You will be informed when you have 5 minutes remaining. And the last one, the end of examination disinfection. You will have 10 minutes to complete this section. You will be informed when you have 5 minutes remaining. So 1, dispose of used materials. Number 2, disinfect workstation and clean work area. This also includes sweeping your area. Number 3, remove all supplies, materials, and or personal belongings. Remember, anything that is left behind will be discarded. And that is the end of the examination. Once you have completed the examination, here on page 21, this is an example of what might be read to you after you have completed the exam. It says, Candidate's final instructions. This concludes the practical examination. Please be seated at your assigned station to wait for your score report. This usually takes about 5 to 10 minutes. Once you have received your test score, you will be asked to exit the facility immediately. If you have any questions, they ask that you contact customer service, but they will not give you any further explanations in reference to your score. So just remember to pack all your supplies that you need and make sure that you are studying your steps and that you are timing yourself. And I'm sure you're going to do great. Thank you so much. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And I look forward to seeing you on the next video.